Ciao de Zoe.
All right, so what language is that, guys?
Chinese.
Any other answers?
Mandarin.
That's pretty much the same.
Japanese.
I don't want to say my answer because I don't think it's like an appropriate. I want to say
Thailand.
Tahiti. I was gonna say Tahiti, but
Oh.
that's not a language.
Indonesian.
That's
So
a
you guys
location.
like danced around the country. It's actually Vietnam.
Vietnam.
We're close enough.
Yeah. So hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Percelli. I'm the executive of Miami YPN and YPN Global. Please follow us on Instagram. And today's topic on Help Me YPN is the market heating up or is it cooling down? We'll decide that today. But before we get to this topic, we have some big shout outs to give out to. First goes out to FeedSpot. Hey, FeedSpot, thank you so much for ranking Help Me YPN as the third best podcast in Miami for real estate. So thank you so much for your recognition. If you want to see the rest of the finalists, go ahead and check out the comments. The link will be right there. Also, another big shout out to the AV Club. We love you, Khalid. Thank you so much for always offering your studio to us. And guys, if you want to book your own podcast, Khalid is open for business. So hit him up. All you got to do is type in AV Club on Google. His information will pop up right there.
No,
and
you got to type in the AV Club Studios because the AV Club is like an old school thing from like school.
Okay. Oh, it's that morning show.
Yeah, like I was an AV Club kid. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
right.
It was a thing. So the AV Club Studios, that's me.
All right, so AV Club Studios. Call
Studios,
Khalid.
yeah.
He will even let you in remotely. He doesn't have to be here.
I don't
But
gotta be
we're
here.
lucky to have him here.
It's like an
today.
Airbnb. Like this is your studio when you're booked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yours. It's
Yeah.
yours.
And fun fact, Rick Ross was sitting in this
Right
chair
there.
right here.
Right
I'm the
there. I'm
boss.
sure. I got
Okay,
a
and our
picture.
final
Yeah,
shout
right
out goes to not only the one and only YPN Global Congress coming up to you on February 27th through 29th. If you want to join us in Dubai, please hit me up, kevin@miamire.com. I'll send you all the information. We would love for you to join us. And so, back to today's topic. Is the market heating up or cooling down? We're going to determine that today. So, Cindy, right off the top, is it the right time to buy even with high interest rates?
Ooh, they gave me the hot question.
That's spicy.
Oh, it's spicy.
That's spicy.
I like it. I don't need spicy.
Yeah.
I think it depends on you. It's going to sound really cliche,
I'm
but
glad.
it's, yeah.
No, it's not cliche because everybody's like, yes, so please go on. This is great.
Yeah, I'll explain. If it's the right time for you, if you're ready financially, you're ready to move, you're ready to make the move, then it's the right time for you. It is what it is. And it really depends on how are you purchasing that property. Are you purchasing the property in cash? Are you purchasing the property financing? So if you're purchasing in cash, then interest rates don't matter.
Right.
And if you're purchasing with financing, then you got to make an educated purchase and figure out what programs are out there to help you purchase your property, right?
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk about that today. But listen, when interest rates are high, that means that there's less demands for buyers in the market. And if you're a person that doesn't have a lot of purchasing power and you can't compete with the rest of the people coming in at once that have more purchasing power, then it make sense to you to not have that competition and be able to get some seller concessions and be able to take a little bit more time to make that decision, so on and so forth. And then once interest rates lower, then you can always refinance. That's the one thing that you can change. You can change the price. So if you can play with that price now and you can get a discount, do it if it's the right time for you to purchase. That's what I would say.
I like it.
Anybody else have any additional comments before we move on?
From what I've been hearing, I don't know where this came from. I don't know where this term came from, but people are marrying the house and dating the rate, meaning like the house you're locked into at that price, but the rate you may get into it at say a 8%. But if you can afford that 8%, if they tell you this is the house, this is the payment, and you love the house and it makes financial sense for you to pay that mortgage and get the house that you love, do it, and understand that when the rates do go down, you can always refinance. Not to say you can guaranteed get a lower rate, but it's a chance that when there is an opportunity, you can do it and, you know, get that payment down. So I feel like that's the biggest thing to look out for.
Yeah, of course, you got to wait some time in order for you to refinance, and it's going to cost you, et cetera, et cetera. Again, got to get that education.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that people don't know about is taxes, right? So taxes are attached to the purchase price. And once they reassess the value of your home, then you're going to pay a portion of that, right? 80% of the purchase price is going to be the assessed value, and then you're going to pay about 2% of that in taxes. So if you can negotiate your purchasing price rather than having to pay more once interest rates lower and you have more competition, then I think you're in a better position.
Yeah.
Very good. So we're right on topic right now, guys. So Darnell, if I were to purchase a house right now, how long do I have to wait before I can refinance to bring my interest rate down?
Well, as far as I know, I don't believe you have to wait a certain amount of time. If I'm incorrect, someone please let me know. But I think, it has to make sense for you. So it's something that I always tell my clients, usually my sellers, that are considering refinancing, or my buyers I want to consider refinancing in the future, is you have to do a formula, basically. So speak to your lender and get an estimate of what your new payment will be, and then see how much you're going to be spending or saving monthly, I should say, and then do the math. If you're going to be saving $300 a month, but you know that it's going to cost you, let's say, $10,000 in refinancing and paying the closing costs and whatnot, but you're only planning on staying in the house for a year after that, it might not necessarily make sense to pay thousands of dollars to only save $3,000 for the year. So you just have to do the math, do a simple formula, divide, how much you're going to save based off of how much time you're planning on living in the home, or, reverse engineer it. Let's say you're saving $300 a month, which is, what is that a year? $3,600 a year.
Good math.
And let's say you're going to be in the home for, let's say it costs you $10,000 to refinance. You can do the math and see, okay, it's going to take me, how many months is that? 32, 34 months.
Good. That's good.
30 something months
Under pressure.
to break even. But hey, I'm going to be moving in 2 years. I'm going to this area. I'm going to upsize. Then it doesn't make sense. You're going to spend money to save a small amount of money, so just keep it for the time being. So I would just say, just do the math. It's always a simple formula to
Play
determine.
the long game.
Yeah.
Darnell needs his own intro. Okay, we can't just have
Yeah,
Darnell,
You have
come
to
in
list
here
all his
talking.
certifications
We gotta
and
say
all
who
his
Darnell
stuff.
is.
Like,
Who is
so
Darnell? People need to understand that Darnell in here giving us information. Like, this is probably the toppest producing agent we got around here. So
I
like
think that's Cindy.
Well, shout out to
Different
Cindy.
markets,
Shout
different
out to
markets.
Cindy.
Cindy and Darnell.
Shout out to
But
Cindy.
the world needs to put some respect on Darnell's name. Like,
Put some respect on
put
his
some
name.
respect on Darnell's name. We need to know, like, he coming in here. This is a thing going on right now. Darnell's in the building.
Don't
Introduce
make my
yourself.
head bigger than it already is.
Introduce yourself, Darnell. Who are you?
Oh, man. No pressure or anything.
Let's go to his
Tell the
Instagram. He
people.
always lists
Go
everything.
on his-
bio.
go on his-
Let me see. Let me look it up.
You want to do it for me?
Let me see. Let me go to Instagram.
And
Because you
shout out
always
to
post
Cindy.
it.
Shout out
He
to
always
Cindy too.
posts it
Everybody
in
follow
every
Cindy. Kevin,
single-
put Cindy on the lower thirds in this time.
Cindy
Lower thirds.
Summer.Ari on
Kev-
Instagram.
Lower thirds.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's
You
right
don't
there.
see it?
Click this. Click this.
The
There
Matrix
you go.
didn't pop that up?
We got to.
Yeah,
Got
it's
to.
there.
I can't even find it right now.
It's all the way down there.
No, I don't know.
His Instagram is Darnizzle.
Darnizzle.
Follow Darnizzle. That's it. That's all we needed.
No, I
Darnizzle.
know,
Thirds.
but he always. Wait, hold on. Okay, so here it goes down.
I ain't gonna lie.
Hold on.
Darnell, did you use
Hold
ChatGPT to type that? Because that's a lot. You typed all
Probably
that?
has it already ready.
That's a lot.
That's his
in,
life.
It's in the notepad. I'm like,
All of that is your
copy.
designation.
Okay, so let's get
No,
started.
I only have 3 designations.
All right, please
guys.
list Darnell's accolades.
All right, let his
I don't
credentials.
even
Yes,
have my-
let's just we got
No,
who
we
got-
need
who
to let
got
you know.
here, right?
We
What's
need
going
to let
on?
everybody
gotta-
know who we're
what's
talking
going
to.
on? Right.
So Darnell Aponte.
Aponte.
Aponte. He is KW Luxury, KW Commercial Senior Director, consistently top 10 in region for units and volume monthly.
Consistently.
Number 2 team, year-to-date, Keller Williams, South Florida region. 2021, Miami Association of Realtors Member of the Year. 2021, 40 under 40, Outstanding Young Professional, Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. 2020, Miami Association of Realtors, top 20 under 40 Realtor, number 58 in the region of 7,000 KW agents. 2022, hold on, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, it's okay. Take a breath, take a
2022
breath.
Broward County Chair, Miami Associations of Realtors, YPN Board. 2023, 2021, and 2020 Florida Realtors State Director. 2022, 2021, and 2020 Governor, Miami Association of Realtors, YPN
2024
Board.
also.
And we have to update that then. I apologize.
there yet. We ain't in
It's not-
2024.
How dare you? How dare
I
you?
apologize. And then 2021 Women's Council of Realtors, Broward Membership Ambassador. 2019, 2022, 2021 Keller Williams Central, Top Individual Agent. 2022 Keller Williams Central, Top Team.
So we're not just having anybody
Let's
come up
go.
in here
Shout
and
out.
talk
Right.
to you and give you
Nice.
advice. Okay, we vet these people. You know, if
Yes.
anybody who's everybody is in here on Help Me YPN. So
Right.
I didn't add my designations.
that's the moral of the
Oh, I'm sorry. I
And he got on a
apologize.
wristband.
Talk to me about Women's Council.
That is absolutely my favorite organization.
Hey.
behind- you
So
know, you
anyone can
finished
join, even men?
behind
Yes.
YPN. Absolutely,
it's a thing.
It's inclusive
Yes.
for everybody. They've even had local chapter presidents and state presidents that were men.
That are men. Yeah.
And it's just that organization does a lot, and they literally have like 3 events every month. So I couldn't do everything, but I loved it.
We gotta let the women participate. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
It's about
Women's
support.
Council. I'm part of
I
Miami
know you
Dade.
are.
You're Broward, right?
Not this year.
Okay, so I am Broward. I am Miami Dade, and we're actually having the fashion show.
He's tall. Maurice's mic.
27th. So if you guys are, we can.
So when this we can, but like when this podcast airs, like the winner will be crowned like months in the past. So this is not going to probably drop
okay,
until
that's fine.
2024. But
That's fine.
But hey, yeah.
This is not gonna come out till 2024.
Oh, this is like episode. This is the 5th episode we've recorded tonight. So everybody knows this is not the time right now, but it is 11:22 p.m. We've been grinding all evening.
No, we take this
seriously. Yeah. We do take it seriously. I am a little bit tired, but like we gotta finish this
the
out.
hustle.
And
This is the grind right
this
here.
is it's not every day you get to be at the AV Club, so it's really
facts.
cool.
Friday
AV
night,
Club
let's
Studios.
go.
Club Studios, yeah, sorry.
Studios.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
where my
Darnell.
brain's at right
Thank
now.
you.
But
See, Darnizzle.
let's see if I can read this
Darnizzle.
next question right. I have not been doing well in this podcast so far. And this is for anybody, will the market prices go up or down if interest rates cool down? I think we all know the answer
I
to
think
this.
that if interest rates are down, prices are up. Like it's a pendulum. If interest rates are up, prices they might go down.
They stabilize.
Yeah, they're not gonna crash, but you know they'll
They adjust.
because it's less people applying for these mortgages. Therefore, there's a less demand.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
You also have to
Basic
remember,
economics.
Yeah, you have to remember we're in the second hottest real estate market in the world and the number 1 hottest real estate market in America. So the national trends don't always apply to us here in South Florida.
No, it's 100% true. And we aren't even talking about the people that are priced out of the market right now with higher interest rates. As soon as they do cool down, they're going to be back in the game. And, I don't know if it'll be a repeat of 2021 and early 2022. But I think over asking price will probably be a big reality again, where it's still probably happening today a little bit, but not nearly as much as it was about a year ago.
Yeah. I think the biggest misconception with that is people think no matter what you price it at, you're gonna get over asking price. But there's a science to it. You have to run those comps. You have to kind of know what it's selling for, and then you just strategically slightly overprice it above that. My thing is I like to slightly underprice it because I feel like that's what gets the price above what you expect.
That's my thing. So I learned this from Alexis Bolin in Pensacola
Okay.
at RA Bar Camp at Florida Realtors in August. And she says this all the time, but it really made sense to me then. It's easy to overprice a home. Like anyone can overprice the home, but it's all about pricing it correctly. And like you, I like to price it at market value or even slightly below market value, because that way you're going to create a sense of value and you're going to create a bidding war that way. The old strategy is to list it above what you think it's worth just to test the market, to see what we can get, or to overprice it just because you know the buyers are going to negotiate and offer you less. No, I'd rather bring my sellers multiple offers to choose from versus that one lowball offer that's giving them less than they have it listed for because they overpriced the home.
So let's talk about this for a second, because while I
That
don't,
makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. Well, while I don't peruse the MLS every day, there are these $1 listings. Do you think that's silly, or do you think there was any logic behind that? What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, it kind of creates like an auction atmosphere, I feel like, but I mean, it's kind of silly unless it's an actual auction to list it at $1, in my opinion. Just list it, slightly below, what the true market value is, just to create the sense of value.
They're not serious. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a big, like, depending on who you are situation. Because when I was like my first 2 years in real estate, I'm very big on like going to classes in the Miami Realtors Association. And when I would go to these classes, there was a class on my thing like negotiation or like CMAs. And a lot of it was an uproar. Like it went person to person. They were just complaining like realtors are pricing it at this price, and you send them an offer at that price, and they don't accept it. What's that about? How do I complain on them? So, but it's like if you do the comps and they're asking $250, but the comps say it's worth like $300 or $280 or something like that. it makes perfect sense to kind of offer a little higher because you kind of have to like kind of gauge what they're doing, like because I kind of have an idea what's going on out there, so I know, okay, you strategically priced this property lower, so you want me to do, I know what you want me to do, here you go. So you got to kind of know what it would take to win the house for your buyer.
I believe also that agents and the public need to understand that it's not up to the listing agent.
Yeah.
We represent our sellers. You know, so even if you offer them asking price or above, doesn't mean they're obligated to accept it. And it's not always the price; it's also the terms as well.
Yeah.
You can offer above asking price, but if it doesn't have optimal terms for the seller, then it means nothing.
But that's only with multiple offers, right? Like if somebody brings you at asking price, wouldn't an agent potentially sell sue the sellers?
Let me tell you what happens here. So I've had multiple situations where I'm sure you've been here. I'm sure everybody's been here where you have a new listing. You already went back and forth with your seller for a while about the price. You finally get that price. You list it. You show it for a week or so, and you get an offer. And the offer is exactly what they said they would take.
Right.
They're like, that came too fast.
Oh, we you must have priced it too low.
Yeah,
we sold this too quick.
5 days. You got this offer in 5 days, and then they're like, you know what, let's just wait another week. And it's happened to me where they've said this offer came too quickly. We've waited, and that was the best offer we've gotten the entire stint of the transaction, and now they took a loss. Had they just took that offer, it would have been good to go.
Yep.
But it's like doggone, because being on both sides of the pendulum, when I'm working with a buyer, I'm looking at your days on the market. I'm like, this house has been on the market for 300 days. No one.
What is wrong? What's broken?
Let's send them an offer that works for us. They need us at this point. But if you see an offer, listen, it's like, oh, it's only been 3 days. We got to come hard. You know, like we got to offer our best that we can do. So all of that matters.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I always have to explain this to my sellers on a new listing. Statistically speaking, usually the first couple offers you receive are the highest.
Yeah.
Why? Because the buyers that are looking at homes on the market don't like anything that's currently on the market. So once they see a new home that comes to market that fits their criteria, they're likely going to be the buyers that are going to offer the most amount of money because they finally see something they like. They see the value to it. So like you said, sellers often miss out when they want to wait a week or two or try to create an artificial bidding war because those serious buyers are just going to move on.
They've been out there and they've offered on like 4 or 5 properties and they all said no.
Yep.
So that's another factor.
But something about it also is that they do at the time of acceptance.
Yeah.
So it's like either you answer me by this time or.
I'm glad you said that. How much time do y'all give for time for acceptance? I give like 3 or 4 days.
3 days.
Yeah, okay.
3 days.
I do
2
24
days.
hours. Next
24
day
hours?
24
hours? It
hours?
depends on my buyer and how hot the listing is.
That's scary.
Sometimes I may do 2 days, but like
I don't know why.
if you have a strong buyer that's super qualified,
okay.
Yeah, you have
and
that.
they're not
Because it shows I don't got time for this.
And they're not picky, then I'm gonna put a strong offer. I'm gonna be aggressive. Sometimes I do. Time is of the essence. Like I need to know tomorrow by 5 p.m.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work all the time. If it's a super hot listing that's turnkey, that's not gonna necessarily work.
Yeah. Huh.
It depends on how aggressive your buyer is too. Yeah.
Do you know 3 days? Like around 3 days?
I do 3 days.
If there's a Sunday in between, I give 3 days. If there's no Sunday in between, I do 2. I don't work on Sundays unless I'm in the middle of something.
That's fair.
It's respect that day. So
depends
if there's a Sunday in between.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I usually do 2 days as well.
Okay.
I'm next business day. You gotta let me know.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that.
Give me an answer.
When I got a solid
24 hours.
All right, bet.
But the reality is, if they come back to us a day later, they're like, hey, the sellers made up their mind. The buyers were interested. More than likely, yes.
Honestly, the day
but doesn't
that
the
goes out
offer
the window.
Doesn't it expire?
You'll change a date.
It doesn't mean anything. Or if the agent really wants to accept the offer, they'll send it back. They'll cross off the date.
Okay, I see that. But technically,
Naturally, personally, I just ask, are you still interested? Like, you know, like I know the time expired, but can we still do this?
Right.
But
no, yeah, I understand that. But
it's
like
gone.
when it comes to like the legalities of it,
realistically,
or whatever,
that offer is dead.
You're just gonna have to cross
it out and initial next to it. Okay.
You change it. Honestly, in my scenarios that I've worked with listing agents, I don't see a lot of listing agents take that expiration date very seriously. No, it is depending on how many offers they have, what's going on, how long the owners are taking to negotiate and look over everything. So they really at least when I've been on the buyer or tenant side, they really don't care much. They are just going to ask, are you still interested? If a lot of time has passed.
That makes sense.
But that's why I also try to push 2 days and not more than that, because we also, if they don't have other offers, I don't want them just waiting around to see, like, make a decision.
Yeah, you have to figure it out because they want to wait like a whole week and like wait if they get another offer, and I'm like, no.
It's like, I showed this house on Wednesday. You're not making a decision until next Tuesday. Like,
that makes no sense.
I'm not going to allow you to use my offer to try to get other offers.
Correct.
And put us in an artificial bidding war. Like,
they try to create one.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's a big thing.
I see real estate like dating. It's like if I'm talking to a guy and he hasn't messaged me in like 3 days, I'm like, bye.
What's going on? Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm a boyfriend. I'm just saying. Like,
right. I get that. That's fair. Yeah, no, I get that.
But yeah.
It's important, like, because it shows intent.
Yes.
Like, are you really serious about this house?
Exactly.
Are you serious about it?
Are you interested? Because I take that, like, when I go, like, days without hearing from the person that sent me an offer, I'm like, are you trying to, like, see if you could get a better deal somewhere else? And then, like, I don't got time for this. What are you doing here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. But I'm going to try that 24 hours.
24 hours. But it's also the rest of the terms, too. So, like, I always typically try to have my buyers underwritten in advance so I can say, hey, we have a 14-day loan approval period. We're going to do a 3-day inspection, because with my offer, oftentimes I'll include, hey, I have these 2 days and times available for the inspector. So I show that I'm on top of it. Like, you accept our offer, like, we're doing the inspection tomorrow.
I like
and
that.
We're going to know in 72 hours if we're moving forward or not. And in less than 2 weeks, my buyer's going to have their finance approval. And then closing time after that is whatever's convenient for the seller. But I let the listing agent and the sellers know when I represent the buyer that these are solid people. Like, you don't want to miss this offer.
Yeah.
So do you put 30 days? Sorry, do you put 30 days or less, or what do you?
I speak to the agent first to see what's important to your seller. What are they looking forward to the most? Because sometimes they don't want a quick closing, like they need a 45 or 60.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll do a 30-day closing, but we'll do a 2-week post-closing occupancy for the seller. So whatever terms that I can negotiate that make it best for the seller. And believe it or not, it's not always the price. Terms are extremely important.
It's valuable.
Yeah, I've had sellers turn down cash offers. I want to close in 2 weeks. My sellers have nowhere to go.
Right, that makes sense.
So it's great you're giving us asking price and you can close in 2 weeks, but unfortunately that's too quick for them.
Mm-hmm.
My rule for negotiation, I didn't like learn this thing. This is just like me putting stuff together, is if you want to kind of like weaken one point of the contract, you got to beef up somewhere else. So if you want to do a lower purchase price, we got to do a shorter inspection and a bigger escrow. You want to do a tiny escrow, we need a pretty big purchase price and so it's like a grab.
It's like a matrix.
Yeah, it's a
mentor
matrix.
Told me it's not just one thing. Everything.
Yeah, you can't lowball. You got to lowball and then like go all in right here, you know?
You're not going to do a $1,000 deposit with a 15-day default inspection period, a 30-day finance approval, and
that makes
45, 60-day closing. Like, get out of here.
Realistically, when they say they want to do a 15-day due diligence and it's a 30-day closing, that's really saying half of the time we're in this contract, I want the right to leave. Like, that's scary.
But that's the thing. But I know that a lot of agents are just okay with a pre-approval. I specifically require DUs. I don't do pre-approvals.
That is the best practice. That is the best way to do it. But I've had so many lenders just say, I don't do DUs. We don't do DUs.
What do you mean you don't do DUs?
I have a lot of interesting things to share about that. I mean, a lot of people say, it's a violation to do that. But like doing the DUs, it's really only common practice in South Florida.
Really?
So if you ever work with a buyer or you're on the seller and you request a DU and it's not a local South Florida lender, like even like my Orlando lenders or lenders that lend in multiple states, like, no, we don't ever provide that. Because that's not a common practice here. That's only South Florida, guys, for the most part.
Explain what's a DU for the people that don't know what you're talking about.
So DU is going to be something that's generated from the lender. It's a desktop underwriter report, and it's going to show a lot of confidential, a lot of sensitive information. So most lenders are not going to feel comfortable doing it, and they'll never send it to us directly. They're going to send it to the buyer, and then the buyer can send it to us.
And it's a hard credit pull.
Yep, it's a hard credit pull, and it shows everything from their credit scores.
All 3 credit scores.
Yep,
yes.
All 3. Their income,
the
their
DTIs.
assets.
All bank balances.
Yes.
Also, lenders don't like to send it because it shows the interest rates that you price them at, and buyers will use that, and realtors to get the buyers to shop. Because now you're giving away the lender's secret sauce.
I didn't even think about it that way.
Yep.
That makes perfect sense.
Because you have everything there, the interest rate, the APR.
You use that and you can just,
There's so many lenders.
Yes,
Wow.
that happens often.
So yeah, that's also why lenders really don't like to share it. That's truly what you're going to use to shop them.
Well, since we're talking about lenders, when I mentioned about refinancing, the reason why they want you to wait is because the lender loses the commission.
If you refinance within 6 months, they're going to do a clawback, and they're going to have to pay that money back.
Right.
Pay it back. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Which sucks.
Goodness.
So I recently had a deal. A client of ours bought a home in May with another agent. He met my agent at an open house in May, and in July he listed it with us, and the lender told him that he's not allowed to sell. He has to wait. So,
the lender told him that?
The lender, obviously lied. He can't sell it. He can sell it the next day.
Yeah.
He just didn't want
Was it a
to
deed
give up
restriction?
his commission. I understand, but I mean, don't give false information.
He should have said, please don't.
Sometimes they give back like
Please don't.
$30K in
Yeah.
Please
commission.
don't, or
Yeah.
if you're gonna
Crazy.
purchase something else, at least use me for this transaction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we break even. That's the best thing to say, I believe. versus-
Buyer consultation.
Honestly,
versus saying no.
especially like if you're a newer lender, there's times where like you finally get that commission and it's like it's gone before you even. So I can imagine the devastation of like 5 months later
Having
you
to
calling
pay
me
30
saying, "Yo, I
back,
need that
30K?
back." Like what? So that's devastating.
Yes.
I can't do it. Yeah, that's
Holy
scary.
cow! So we're that's intense. Is the AC on? All this information is making me hot.
No, it's not
Got
on.
it.
You want to
Put
know?
it on, please.
Khalid, can we please just
All right.
right here.
So while he and listen, he turns everything on by his phone. So like the AV Club
That's
is
super cool.
so legit. So back to on topic, Karen. Since we're talking about lenders, anyways, do lenders ever buy down rates?
So you do have the option to talk to your lender, like, to see if he can help you out.
Yeah.
Because that is a possibility. They are able to give some type of contribution to help you out, or you can do the 2-1 buy down. That is also an option. So yeah, you have some options there.
What is a 2-1 buy down for the people that don't know?
So basically, you have a set interest rates for the 2 years, and then the year after, it drops. It goes up a point. Does it go up a point?
This is my first time
My-
hearing about y'all
so
teaching
my-
me this.
So my understanding of a 2-1 buy down is, you're using some cash up front to pay down the interest rate. So they're basically it's almost like they treat it almost like an adjustable rate where, you're paying less. Let's say you're buying it down 2% for the first year.
For the first
and
year.
then 1% the second year, and then year 3 will be the full amortization of the loan. But that way, that helps buyers get in homes today in hopes of rates going down in the coming years. So that way you can refinance. But a lot of people don't realize that you can prepay some of your interest to buy down your interest rate, to get a lower interest rate for the whole life of the loan, or using the 2-1 program as well, which is really popular earlier this year and last year once interest rates started rising from historic lows.
There's
It's
also
an
the
option.
3-1. There's also a 3-1
three.
as well. Yeah.
But it's like one of those options that if maybe you don't have the money right now, or you just
You can get the seller to give you a seller concession for that program, and you don't have to pay for it.
también.
So that's, in my opinion, that's way better than having the seller pay for your part of your closing costs, or absolutely way better than lowering the purchase price. Because lowering a purchase price, let's say $10,000, may lower your interest rate, your monthly payment, I should say $40, $50 a month, let's say. Whereas if you buy down the rate and you're able to buy it down 0.25%, 0.5%, 0.75%, you can save hundreds of dollars a month, potentially $200-$300 a month. So that's more of an impact for your daily life versus lowering the purchase price $10,000 over 30 years.
That makes sense.
There are also other programs you can do, like an assumable loan, so you can get say if the seller is paying 4% on their mortgage, and you can assume that loan, then you can pay 4% and can still afford the home.
And that's been a thing lately. That's been a thing lately where people don't usually use that option, but I've heard of assumable loans coming up lately in the market.
Also-
VA loans are assumable as well.
Yeah. Also, there's points and times where a lot of people, like, they'll have the cash to purchase some type of property cash, and they'll just want to do it cash. But sometimes it just makes the most sense to take that lump sum of cash you have and put it down on a loan. So, for example, I often have people saying, hey, I already took a HELOC out. I got $200,000. I'm ready to invest. Well, when we're trying to look for, like, cash only properties in this area for $200,000, it's not much, that you can really get with pride. But if you could take that 200,000, that's 20% of $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So you might rather get that big building and you can show the income from the building, and now you got a big commercial property. So sometimes like it's in your best interest to just finance it. On the same note, if I've had buyers say, I have $90,000, I want to buy a house. Let's find me a house for $90,000. You not go like, well, I'll show you for $90,000, but
you had a condo for $90,000. Like,
I
made
had
a video. You're like,
yeah.
it's just $90,000.
It's $90,000. Yeah,
I saw that.
But when people get to that building, like especially after like the Surfside collapse, like it's things like that people are just, they get to the building and the condo makes sense, but when they see the building, they freak out. They're like, I'm gonna wait.
You can find a nice building for $99,000 if you're 55 plus.
If you're 55 plus, yeah.
We gotta be 55 plus.
Even still,
the more
they might have a mom. I don't know.
What it is like the more restrictions there is, the lower the price can be. So I'm realizing the lower price buildings, it's harder to rent out. It's harder to be approved.
Oh, you gotta live in it, yeah.
And if you do rent it out, it's harder for your tenant because they want your tenant to have a $650 or a $750 or something like that.
That's another thing. Or the HOA fees also.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, and I don't normally work up north. I'm always kind of Miami-Dade, but I see that like when I go up north, it's like a whole bunch of HOA fees, even if it's 55 plus. It's like these HOA fees are crazy, and like we're not keeping to consideration the assessment.
Yeah,
if it has assessment, so it's like, listen, like you're over here paying
have
too
the
much.
seller pay it.
I don't want you to have to feel like you have to drive north, so just feel free to refer those. I'll mail you a check.
Contact him. What's your Instagram?
Darnell the Aponte.
She's got the bat line.
Definitely the Aponte group.
I like it.
All right, so we were
I market everybody.
we were talking about different programs and things like that. Cindy, do you want to talk about what Bank of America offers right now?
Well, I don't work for Bank of America, so just
Disclosure.
throw that out there.
Yeah.
Disclosure, yes. But we recently had a training on Bank of America, and they have a program called the Community Affordable Loan Solution, where you can get about $25,000 that you can use to close a home. $15,000 would be for the down payment, and that would be Miami-Dade County and LA County. Of course, coming to Florida, that would be that. They're going to provide that down payment. They're going to zero lender closing costs, so they'll pay for all of the closing costs that are not reoccurring. So they won't pay for insurance, they won't pay for the taxes, but they'll pay for everything else. And there's no mortgage insurance required. Also, no minimum credit score required. You just have to have a history of you for a year on 3 different credit cards that you are a good payee of your debt. And there's really not much to do. You just have to be somebody who's on top of your stuff. You got to take some classes. You got to have your taxes done and submit that. And you got to go to class for, I think it's about a month, and you got to do 2 of them. And then once you finish that, then you can approve for that. Also, you can't make more than $102,000 for the year. In order
Is it
to
per
qualify.
household?
Yes. So if you're going to do 2 of you make more than $102,000, then it can only be under your name. You would be the only one buying, so that you don't go above the $102,000. Again, for more information, you can talk to Bank of America.
Bank of America.
I do work for somebody in Bank of America, so if you want more information, you can hit me up, cindysummer.re. I'll
Or
send it
to the
over
link
to you.
in the bio.
Link in bio. But no, I think it's a great program. It's been going on for a while. This will be for specific properties in Miami-Dade, where they're mostly minority, which in Miami-Dade, most of them are going to be minority on there. So you can pretty much find something. I do recommend going for a single family home rather than a condo, because a condo needs to be have enough reserves, which is about 10% or more. So it's going to be a little bit more complicated
harder
when it comes to that.
In Miami-Dade, yes.
Yes,
I don't know if
Miami-Dade.
you guys have that issue in Broward.
Everywhere.
Listen, I feel that sometimes once it goes past that line, that like boundary line, I just think Miami-Dade is disrespectful when it comes to like condos. No. It really is, because you see that there's the association fees. You see that there's these special assessment fees. And then I tell people, I'm like, show up to your board meetings. Show up, because if you don't show up, they're making decisions for you. And it's very sad where literally you will be losing your condo because you're not able to pay a special assessment, or you're not able to to pay your HOA dues, and HOA dues are not gonna go down. Like, let's be real. They will just only keep increasing until there's a balance. And people forget that the association, they hire the management company. So it's like the management company works for you. It's not the other way around. So it's like they do what you say, and if you don't show up, you're doing a disservice to yourself. And it just sucks to see so many people lose their properties or have to sell their units because they cannot just afford it.
Yeah, I feel like Dade County is like that because it's so dense. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the cities in Dade are older than majority of the cities in Broward.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
No? I think Dade.
But then you have Dade and then you have unincorporated Dade.
Unincorporated. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So, what we've noticed after the Surfside situation.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing an audiobook on that.
What?
I'm making an audiobook on the Surfside situation.
What? So, the thing is that none of, like, I don't want to say none of them, but it's like a very small percentage. They were not up to code. Yeah. So you have all these situations where you have the roof issues. You have, just they have to like
deferred maintenance.
Just the overall.
I feel like you've been pooping on condos the whole time, and I will tell you, 85% of what I sell are condos. I keep changing.
Yeah, but you do like a whole different side of
But there's a like a whole thing you could do with condos, right? Like you want to go for condos that were built in 2005 or later. Like there's ways around it, right? I don't go to those condos that are older unless it's somebody that wants to be in front of the ocean. Mm-hmm. So then I'm going to Mid Beach or higher, and they know that they're going to get an older building because they're right in front of the ocean. But those rent so well because everybody wants to come to Miami for the winter and they want to be swimming in the water. So, but there are really good condos where
definitely there are condos that are managed, but we also have to be realistic when it comes to the condos that are a little bit older and on the lower spectrum of the whole situation.
Depends on your budget.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about like $1 million condos, or we're talking about like, I don't know, $2, $3, $4,
$90,000.
Yeah, of reality.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then it's like, and then. People, it's either like you can't even afford the condos or you can't even afford like a townhouse or a single family, because a single family in Miami-Dade right now is like $500,000-$600,000. So those are one of the things. I mean, what happened?
He took my belongings.
You weren't using them.
He took my belongings.
I'll give it right back to you.
Indigenous Day.
You want it?
I want what I brought.
Darnell Columbus.
He discovered that thing.
You were in my space.
I seen the whole thing. He discovered it.
You were encroaching on
he can use it or no.
Let him have it.
So I want to backtrack a little bit. This off the record regarding the Bank of America program.
Here, you can have it.
It has a lot of restrictions.
Has anyone ever used it, or has anyone known anyone that's actually successfully closed the deal using that program?
I haven't successfully closed, but what I wanted to say is, are there some incentives, right, for home buyers? Doesn't have to be Bank of America. Could be Navy Federal. I think the one that they offer is a little bit better, but you have to be able to get into a credit union, right? I haven't closed one, but it is available because the people that I work with a bigger budget, so I haven't been fortunate enough to use it.
Yes, so
but they do have restrictions.
Let Darnell finish this. Actually,
well, that's what I hear a lot. So like, yeah, it's a great program, and like it got major headlines when it was released earlier this year. But like, it's hard for people to qualify. It's hard to find home that people can actually purchase, at least in South Florida, with the income limitation. You know, so like
they're increasing it.
It sounds great in theory, but like
on paper, it sounds great.
You can't really use it. You know, they've had a program like that for forever. There's also NACA as well, which is very similar. But you know, a lot of these programs are like geographically specific. You can only buy in certain zip code or certain
opportunity
area.
zones.
Yeah, so like.
Bank of America is great.
People. You're right.
There's a certain but then with the Bank of America, I know a lender that she works with them, and like she wants to literally like pull her hair out because you can't literally have a late payment in X amount of years. And let's be real, like people have to their situations. It's not like you're gonna have like on time payments like all the time. Shit happens. Mm-hmm. Stuff happens.
You got you. Kevin will edit it.
It's for a specific buyer. I agree with you.
Cut that right out.
Have you ever used it?
No, absolutely not. And I was in a group a couple months ago with agents from all across the country.
You
and
can use this now, Darnell. Okay, record
Columbus, Darnell, Columbus.
He discovered it.
I discovered it in my land.
It is now. Duh.
We were here, he moved us over here.
I'm in a group with like 7,000 agents from across the country. And it's a Black realtors group, so like a lot of them want to help like with the lower income and the minorities. And out of the 7,000 people in that group, there was only one person that said they had successfully closed a loan, and it was in a much smaller market, like somewhere in North Carolina, where the average home price was under $250. So like it's difficult.
I'm not
here.
denying anything. I'm not denying anything.
She's looking down like, where
I mean, they don't work for condos most of the time. So no, I haven't used it. I sell condos, waterfront condos.
It was a general question for.
No, but it's good. It's good to have this conversation.
It's out there.
Honestly, condos have naturally been harder to buy. Like that's just they're lower. They're the lower price
depending on your budget.
Because the harder it is to get in, the price will adjust accordingly. But I would say like a condo is a good opportunity for like someone that's just it's just you just want like a nice little starter place or something like that. You don't want a big yard. You don't want to have to run a $5,000. Yeah, just give me a little condo. I just want to go lay, have my nice big little suite, have my what do you call these things, amenities. That's
or you just want to be able to just pack up when you want to leave, go on a trip, and not have to worry about security or maintenance or anything like that. You're gone.
But that makes sense if maybe it has a good, healthy budget, because what people don't understand is that most of the times, not all of the times, just saying, I'm putting that out there, you have to come in with a 25% plus closing cost, because a lot of them don't have a good budget.
Yeah.
So, and that's the realistic side of that I deal with in Miami-Dade County. So it's like coming in with 25% with plus the closing costs. Just get yourself a townhouse, or like see how you can get yourself into a single family.
But that's the
trade-off.
Like the townhouse is gonna cost significantly more than the condo. You can get
let her
but you can come with a lower down payment.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do like a 5% down and then finance 95%, but then you're not gonna like.
Cindy, what's your counterpoint?
Because it depends on the condo. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
There's some lenders that I work with that will give me a list of condos that have exactly for 5% or 10%. And of course, it changes all the time because it depends on however long they've been on that. But you can work with specific condos and give 5-10% down, and you'll be okay. It also depends on who's buying the condo. Absolutely, because I work mostly with people. My favorite type of people to work with are people who are relocating because they have urgency, right? And they will need to get the condo, and they most likely come from California or New York, where they're paying higher prices. So a $5,000 rent or $1 million condo makes sense because they're paying much more where they're coming from. And if they're coming to Florida, they want to be looking at the water, they want to be looking at the ocean. So it works. Yeah. Now, somebody who's a local here, with a family, with a regular income, it's a condo's not going to work.
Yeah.
You're right, 100%.
I just want to touch on something that Karen said regarding the 25% down. Interesting fact, I don't know if most of you guys know this, is that Florida is the only state in the country where if a condo is non-warrantable, you have to put 25% down. Every other state, it's 20%.
Wow.
So our buyers need to pay 5% more if a condo is not warrantable.
Can you talk a little bit about non-warrantable?
Oh man,
for
you're
the people
putting me on the
spot. People that don't know. People that don't know what that is.
I'll do my best, but you're the condo expert here. But non-warrantable.
Condo queen, penthouse
Just
queen.
Simple, very simple, very
penthouse
simple.
queen.
Yeah. Well, we already have the condo slayer, so we need a nickname for Cindy.
Yeah, we should think of that.
Penthouse queen.
Thank you.
Penthouse queen.
That's what Auto Reserve calls me.
Be careful if you Google that. I feel like some funny things might show up. Penthouse queen. But anyway, so a non-warrantable condo. A condo can be non-warrantable for many reasons. So one of them is if it doesn't have a certain percentage of reserves. So the first thing a lender is going to be looking at is, does this community have at least 10% reserves based off of what their annual budget is? Also, they're going to look at the percentage of owners that are owner-occupied versus rentals. They're also going to look at, does a certain person or organization own more than X percentage of the units in this community. They're going to look at the delinquency rate as well. How many people are paying regularly? How many are 30 days behind, 60 days, 90 days, etc. They're also going to look at if there's any pending litigation or any code enforcement or liens from any municipalities. So those are things that will make a community non-warrantable.
That was beautiful.
Very well said.
One other thing
I
I
just
want
want to clap it up.
That
was amazing. Yes.
Something else I want to share, a lot of people don't realize it, that all of us do, obviously, because we're professionals, but a lot of agents and a lot of clients don't realize that the association is a corporation as well, right? And just like any corporation, you get to decide how you want to run it. So there are board of directors that want to run it lean and mean. So they just want to collect enough money to cover what their budget is for the upcoming years. And there are others that would rather, collect reserves. And reserves are basically like a savings account for the association to account for any unexpected issues. Like if there's a hurricane and they need to repair roofs, or there's an unexpected repair of the asphalt, that they have it in reserve so you don't need to do a special assessment because you're already collecting X amount above your budget to account for these. So if you're not involved, like Karen said, if you're not participating in the meetings and voting and determining how the budget is set up and how you budget for these things, then you can't really complain. So definitely get involved with your association. And if you're like me, I prefer the associations to collect extra for reserves. Not only does that help preserve property values because it increases the buyer pool, and simple economics, right? The more people that can purchase, the higher price you're going to get. Whereas if you don't collect reserves, you're going to limit the buyers, and property values, you're not going to appreciate at the same rate.
Let's be honest, though, for a second. That was great. Who actually goes to their HOA meetings?
I do.
I ask my clients.
November 2nd is my next HOA meeting.
I vote for stuff, but I don't go to the meetings because there's a lot of Karencitas there and stuff.
Oh
yeah, tons of Karencitas.
Literally and figuratively.
Listen, I feel that that's super important, and then I do property management, and I make sure that I show up to those meetings because it's important to be involved. I like to know what they're saying, what's going on. I remember that in my mom's property right now, the house that I got her, they put a sign.
What a baller.
And the sign.
You slept on her.
Thank God, though. It was God. It was all God.
Amen.
It was all God. They got a sign for the entrance, and the entrance sign cost $20,000. I'm like, hold up, listen. There's something going on here because I understand that a sign is expensive, but it's not that expensive. So everyone's literally getting paid. It's going through different hands right now. And then that made me feel very uncomfortable. So when I went to my first board meeting, I was the only person on the Zoom meeting. The president was there and the association manager was there. I was so upset because we have an app. I'm like, why didn't you guys send a notice through the app letting everyone know that there was an association meeting going on? Mm-hmm. And they were like, because we're coming back from COVID. I'm like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because there's 100 and almost 90 units there, or whatever the case may be, and you're telling me that I am the only one present here. That's unacceptable. So then these people are literally cleaning, money laundering.
Money.
Yeah. Let's be real. Let's be real.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm sure we all saw the story earlier this year in the hammocks and
hammocks.
Kendall.
I'm right there.
And
yes,
this doesn't only happen in communities like that. Obviously, it went to a major level. It's a huge community, lots of fraud. But let's be honest. It's South Florida, and if you are on the board, you're gonna, if you're shady, which a lot of people are, you're gonna try to push that insurance contract or that lawn care or the roofing or whatever the contracts are to somebody, a friend, a family, a relative, something, an organization that you may have an interest in. So that's why it's important to be a part of these meetings and make sure that they're actually getting bids and we're picking like what's best for the community. You're not just sending it to your cousin or your sister.
Yeah, because they inflate prices and then they keep the difference.
So what's the disturbing thing with hammocks? And I know because I literally live. Well, I don't live there, but my mom's property, the one that got hurt, is there.
The one she bought her mom.
Hammock, no. Hammocks.
Subtle flex.
That's
pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Listen, I said before I get anything for myself, my mom needs to be secured.
Let's go.
Because that's my mother. Hammocks has a master association and they have the sub. And that's a whole nother thing that people don't talk about, because you have the master association that you're paying monthly and then you have the one that you're paying quarterly. These people, their association was increased like, I don't know, like not even 100%, but like 200%. And it's disturbing because they went ahead and not only did they increase it, but then if you're paying late, you're paying attorney fees. And you're paying attorney fees, and then you start just getting you're getting feed up. So it's so sad that we find ourselves in this predicament. But like, if we don't pay attention, that'll happen to you. So you won't understand until it happens to you. So I encourage everyone to show up to the association meetings, 100%.
Yeah, so we're adding HOA into this title.
Yeah.
We're no
sorry to sidetrack someone.
No, it's fine. This was actually great. Okay, so let's bring this train back on the rails. So you talked about Navy Federal Credit Union, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about any other incentives for first-time home buyer programs
MD
to help with interest rates? Go ahead.
I don't know if to help with MD with interest rates, but I do work with MD, and that helps people get up to $28,500. So depending on what
Darnell's not happy about buyer program.
What does that mean? What is MD? I'm lost.
Like
it's why you search it when you're sick. WebMD.
No, it's a Miami-Dade County program that, depending on what bracket you fall into, they help you with certain amount of help. And like, if you sell the property prior to 10 years, like, you have to repay the loan. But if you sell it like after the 10-year mark, 10 years in a day. Stop laughing, Darnell.
I just have
He's
questions.
A non-believer.
He's a non-believer.
I'm a believer. The programs are great, but like, we also
down
have
payment assistance help. So
okay.
Down payment assistance.
So what are the stipulations? I find that with a lot of those programs, they're a double-edged sword. So yes,
it does have its restrictions.
This.
So it does have its restrictions. You do need to put on the contract that the closing date is 60 days. You do have to repay the loan if you sell the property prior to 10 years.
Wow.
But if you do, because here's the thing, like, the point is for you to keep the property, right?
Yeah.
So then if you sell the property prior to 10 years, you have to repay the loan. They have two options. They have either like $12,500 or like $28,500. They just increase the limits. But if you sell it 10 years and a day after, you don't have to repay it. So that's like a good incentive for buyers.
It's like forgiven?
Yeah, it's forgiven. So it's like, it's a good incentive for buyers.
Bank of America said grants, you don't got to pay it back.
Love that.
I don't work for Bank of America.
She's like, I am not endorsing Bank of America. Just FYI.
How much did they pay you to be here today?
She has a Bank of America logo right here.
So,
An American flag.
question, with this MD program, do they allow you to use that with any lender? Does it have to be a short list of lenders?
Right now, before they had only HUD-approved lenders, but now they opened it up to everyone because they want to make sure that it's like open to everyone.
Are the buyers also getting an increased interest rate because they're using that program?
I mean, it depends. Every client is it's in their individual rate depending on their credit and all their stuff and their DTIs. But based on that, they will figure it out.
He rests his case. Hey, let's talk about some more double-edged swords, though. This is great. So, like, what are some of the worst double-edged swords you've seen with some of these programs?
So there's like a program that, as far as I know, all the programs do. I believe Miami does 10,000, and I think Broward and Palm Beach do like $7,500. Where do you want me to move?
He's good. He's in the shot.
He's in the shot.
So with those programs. I'm a lot, so half of me is enough anyways.
We want all of you.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. I was all
Move your chair.
I'm good.
You're welcome.
Move your chair.
So what was the question? I forgot already.
The double-edged swords. Like, let's talk about some of the worst ones you've seen with some of these special programs.
So, like, when I've used these programs, and I've used it a few times over the past few years, is it's great for buyers that don't have the money available for down payment and closing costs. But then the alternative or the other side of that is that now their interest rate might be a 0.5%, 0.75% higher in exchange for that money. So with those buyers, I like to educate them, and I think I go a little bit above and beyond than most lenders, and most realtors, and I work closely with my lenders because our goal is to always educate our buyers so they know what's going on. Yes, you can get the $7,500 or $10,000, but you might be better off seeing if you have a friend or a relative that can give you the funds, or see if we can negotiate with the seller, because now you're going to be able to have a lower monthly payment, which is also very important for the buyers that qualify for that program anyways.
Yeah. But would the seller give contribution in the market right now?
It depends on the property.
I'm back to Bank of America, but I'm making a comment.
She's not endorsed by Bank of America, FYI.
Because I just went to the training.
She has a Bank of America logo right here.
Not sponsored. So they encourage you to also put some of your money on top of what they're giving you, also because it helps. And if you can get the seller to give you some incentives to also use that, so you can get the seller to pay for a 3-to-1 buy down, and then you pay less interest rate, or you can just take your buyer to Lennar and have them get better rates, because they will give you more competitive rates. She got a logo from Bank of America.
So
that's good. That's good.
Quit trolling. Back to something Khalid said earlier, is that if it's a brand new property on the market, the sellers are likely going to be less flexible when it comes to negotiating.
Yes.
But if it's a property that's been on the market and right now 30, 60, 90, 100, 200 days, then they're going to have more flexibility. I have a listing right now. It's the first time it's ever happened. The sign company sent me an invoice. They're like, hey, you need to pay for a renewal because this sign has been in the yard for way too long. And that seller, not only did they do a price improvement, but they also are willing to give buyers $10,000 towards buyer prepaids or closing costs, and they authorize me to put that in the listing description.
Send us the link.
For real.
Got you. So
how many bedrooms?
4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, Hollywood.
Nice.
Hollywood.
I don't drive to Hollywood unless I come to this podcast, but
yes.
So that's a good point.
So send the referral to me. I'm
okay.
all
that's the thing. I have a question. So for the realtors that normally just kind of service Miami-Dade, what do you recommend when it comes to the Broward market?
As far as
send them to
call
me.
Call Darnell.
But I mean, I go over this with a lot of friends that have a limiting belief. They're like, hey, I only want to work my farm area, or I only want to work this particular area. Our MLS is the second largest in the country, so we have the data all the way from Hobe Sound all the way down to the Keys. So as long as you know how to interpret data and read data, I believe that you can service it. So all the information is there, and we all have a large network where if we have questions about a neighborhood, we can call an agent we know that can help us. So how I do my math is like, hey, this is the buyer's budget, or this is the listing price, and I calculate, how many times am I going to actually have to go show homes or go visit this property, okay? The commission is $20,000. I have to drive an hour each way, so each trip is 2 hours round trip. I have to do 10 trips, my dollar per hour is $500 or $1,000 per hour. So I don't believe like we have to only work like a small area. So I always like to share that with my friends, and I have them calculate like, hey, what is my dollar per hour? Does this make sense for me to do, or does it make sense for me to refer it out?
That makes sense.
So I would love for you to send us
like
me.
a spreadsheet
Darnell
with
loves
that.
referral agreements. Send
can
Darnell.
Can you send us like a spreadsheet with that so we can just calculate it?
I do lots of referrals. If you see, you guys are in the group chat, so like anytime anyone has a referral need anywhere in the country, like I almost guaranteed to have a close friend there.
Yeah, where in Maine did you just hook
he
up
just
today?
said someone like in Maine.
Was it
I'm
Augusta,
like,
Maine?
Augusta, Maine. I'm like, got somebody.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Maine. I'm like, where's Maine, first of all?
It's
I don't know where it is.
That's another
I
issue.
haven't heard
Guys,
of
come
Maine
on.
in like
Like
no,
northwest.
I mean,
listen.
that's where the
North-
lobsters come from, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about an ocean.
But
ocean
We're
now.
getting there. It's about an
it's the
ocean.
most northeastern state in the United States.
Oh, it's over there.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, other way. Okay. So we have to do a trip to Maine.
Over there.
It borders Massachusetts and Vermont.
Okay.
Good to know.
I'm gonna get Bank of America to do a geography class.
Pull up the back. Listen.
Right. So to conclude this podcast, the market is hot if Darnizzle's there for sure.
Darnizzle.
So, thank you so much for tuning
Crispy.
in. Before we go, I just want to let you know, season 3 is all about our ambassadors. If you are looking to get into leadership, get a feel for what working the young professional life is like, the YPN Pro Ambassador Program is perfect for you. Your first step, you got to become a YPN Pro. How do you do that? You go to MiamiRealtors.com/YPN Pro. It's $50. We're not asking for a ton of money. YPN is all about making the entry price as cheap as possible. I promise you most of our events are free. And if you do have to pay a small amount, we will make it worth your while. And once you join the YPN Pro program, me, Kevin Percelli, is going to send you a link. Now, this is a test. If you do not read your emails, there's no way you're going to be able to get into the ambassador program. But if you do just a little bit of communication, we can get you into the ambassador program. What does that mean? Okay, so you get a chat, you get quarterly meetings, you get a taste for leadership, and it's the pathway to get to the board of directors. We got 2 major success stories right now, both with Karen and Cindy, both on the ambassador program and both officially on the board for 2024. So if you are looking to get involved and have fun along the way and become a better agent, there is no better place than YPN Pro and Miami YPN. So if you need any information, you can always reach out to us at Miami YPN or YPN.global on Instagram, and I'll happily answer any of your questions. If you need a real estate question answered, probably hit up Darnizzle over there.
Darnizzle.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Is the market heating up? I think we're good, guys. I don't think we're cooling down. That is for sure. And if interest rates go down, it's definitely going to heat up even more than it is already. So go out there, be great, guys. Take this information, use it to the best of your ability. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We got connections all over the country, and between all of us, let's be honest, it's not just the country, it's the world, and the world is yours.
We're international.
The world is yours with Miami YPN.
Yes.
Take care.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course, I'm going to be on my laptop.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course, I have a full purse. I'm a YPN leader. Of course, I'm eating before I leave.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course, I'm sneaking out for shopping.
We're YPN leaders.
Of course we're going to be creating content.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm signing up for classes.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm Cafecito obsessed.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm going to crash the next happy hour.
If I find my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me?